We got started in 2008, bought our first house. My wife my wife bought the first house. She stopped by work one day and said, we're going out to lunch. She gave me one of those looks like, you're gonna do it, and don't give me any lip. So we ended up going to an auction, and there were 20 houses being auctioned that day. She said, we're not leaving until we buy one. And I just sat there with my hands in my lap. And so she started bidding, and 19 houses went, and we didn't own any of them, didn't bid on it or buy any of them. She bid, but then on the 20th, she said, we're not leaving until we get this house. We're gonna be the top bidder. So she was the top bidder, and that's how we got the first house. $22,000, we paid cash for it. Unlike everybody else that is relying on financing, we're doing everything with cash. So we took the rent money coming off that $22,000 house, put it in a pot, put it into an account, and then I took $6,000 a year in cash that I had while I was still working and put that in the pot. Well, after a year, just over a year, we had enough money to buy the second house. And then the rent from that second house went into the pot. And then the next year, we bought the third house with cash. That rent money went into a pot. The fourth year, we bought another and kept going until we were buying a couple houses a year. So after 10 houses, the first 10 were worth we paid a total of $330,000. We put $100,000 in. So the rents bought the rest of the houses. Basically, the rents were $229,000 is what we had put into the pot from the rent money. Yes.
Did you have to fix up any of these houses?
Yes. Most of them.
Did you do the work or you hired it out?
I did most of it while I was working full-time, while I owned a machine shop.
Did you get your wife to help you?
That sounds good in theory. At that point, we still had a couple kids at home, so they helped on the first couple houses. The initial goals are basically to buy enough houses to have enough cash flow that we can live on and not have to touch any other assets. I've watched several generations of my family retire. They have a nice, they're at a nice list of assets, but 20 years later, when they're getting older, their assets are gone. And that's my goal, is to have enough to live on.
How many do you have today?
19, 20, all paid for.
All rented?
No,
All in Northwest or Southeast?
Northwest and Southeast.
Which do you prefer?
In taking a look, the Southeast properties have appreciated more than the Northwest.
What part of Southeast? Closer to the river or why?
To the riverside of,
Nursery.
yes.
Like the M streets,
Pardon?
to the right of Jamison and
Yeah,
Village.
yeah, to the right of Jamison, yeah.
What's the main reason
In 1984, we got good debt and bought a house. 6 months later, I had a 25% pay cut. And so instead of being 35% of my pay going to the house payment, 50% went to the house payment. So, it's pretty hard to live. And then in 97, I got laid off. So again, I went and got good debt and bought equipment to start a machine shop. So for 97, 98, 99, 2000, 2001, we were making a killing. Then the dot-com crash hit, and I lost 75% of my business. But I still had those big payments for 17 employees. So that good debt turned into bad debt real quick. So we got that all paid off, and then in 2007, 2008, when, again, the housing market crashed, we had cash, we didn't have any payments. So that's why we were able to start buying houses. Yes,
Lessons you've learned along the way.
buy with cash.
Why?
There's
What's your theory versus everyone else?
gonna be another crash. Are you ready for COVID 23? COVID 24, or whatever the next thing is?
Put fire extinguishers in all your houses.
Just based on the mix of people that are in Congress, we're gonna see rent control. Ross Hart last week talked about how you're no longer gonna be able to hide who owns the houses through the LLC. That's gotta be public knowledge now. Easy public knowledge. Take a look at what's happening in New York and California with the rental laws, Washington State. That's all headed this way.
Colorado.
Costing $100,000 instead of $30,000. And assuming you, a 20-year-old makes $50,000 a year.
Sorry.
And they put the money, and they put